So I watched Lee Cronin's The Mummy, and it's incredibly fine. It's such a middle of the road movie. So gonna start off with a spoiler free section here. We went and saw it the same day we went and saw the drama. If you saw that review, and I know kind of a crazy movie two movies to see, like very different movies, but we were out and we were like, you know what, let's see two movies, and we did it. So spoiler free for this movie. If you like horror movies and like gore, you'll probably enjoy this movie. But if you like characters that make competent decisions or characters that actually feel like real people, you might be a little disappointed in this movie. It's kind of hard to explain what I mean by this, without getting into spoiler territory, but I'm just going to say this movie isn't really a mummy movie. So if you're going in expecting it to have to do with the sands and pharaohs and pestilence and plague and all the things that the mummy is known for, it's not going to be that. I don't watch trailers for movies because I feel like they give away the entire movie nowadays. So I like to go in completely oblivious. But with it being called The Mummy, I was expecting something way different. That's partly on me. I can't really be mad that I went in knowing nothing about it and what didn't get exactly what I expected from the title. That's kind of on me, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I usually, for some movies that I really enjoy, I tell people go see it in theaters because I think the theaters experience is really well. But if you don't really have the money or you really care that much, you're not missing anything with this movie, in my opinion. I think you're perfectly fine with waiting until this comes to streaming or until it is available to rent if you really want to see it but don't want to go to theaters and pay theater prices for it. But yeah, that's the end of the spoiler free. I wasn't a big fan. I really try not to get on here and bash movies that I'm not a fan of because listen, I know that there's people out there who love this movie or maybe they absolutely loved it and it's their favorite movie that they've seen of all time. You know what I mean? Maybe not everybody, but there's at least one person out there, possibly. And so I don't really want to shit on this movie incredibly hard because again, everybody's taste is different. But yeah, this movie I'm not a big fan of, and I saw it about over a week ago. So the longer that I haven't actually been in theaters seeing it, the less I kind of like it thinking back on it, which is gonna kind of suck for this review because I'm only really gonna have negative things to say about it, except for a couple key things up front. But yeah, so let's just jump into spoiler stuff again. If you haven't seen the movie, it's so mid, like, and not mid as in like, when people on the internet go, oh, it's mid, as in like, oh, it's not good, it's when I say mid, I mean more of it's middle of the road. It's not terrible and garbage and I wish that I never saw it, but it's not the best movie I've seen in theaters, and I wasn't like, oh my god, I can't stop talking about it. Like once it was over, it was kind of like my wife and I, we talked about some of the stuff that we didn't really like, but it wasn't like a horrible movie. But it wasn't like, oh my God, I want to go see it a second time in theaters. Nothing like that. But yeah, spoiler time. Okay. So this movie is basically an Evil Dead possession movie. It almost has nothing to do with mummies. Or like Pharaoh, like yes, it is in Egypt, but oh man, it feels more like an Evil Dead movie, and I'm not even a big Evil Dead fan, but when people started comparing that Evil Dead or this movie to an Evil Dead movie online, I completely see what they're going for. I'm just gonna get the positives. I'm not gonna go over the plot because I don't really want to rehash the entire thing. It's not entirely worth it in my opinion. But the good things that I want to say and get out of the way really quick are the acting is good. Acting is it's good. It's perfectly fine. It is great even in some points. And yeah, the acting's good. The gore is good. You can tell the Lee Cronin, the guy who made it, the guy who's attached to the title. You can clearly tell he knows what makes people uncomfortable and what is gross and what is nasty. That is here in this movie. That's why I said if you like horror movies, you'll like this. If you like gross, nasty horror movies, you will like this movie. Do not get me wrong. But oh man, do these characters make the worst? The worst decisions, and when they're not making bad decisions, they're not communicating in a situation when people clearly need to be communicating. It's so weird to me. I don't quite understand like how these two parents in this situation are just so not talking to each other and are basically doing their own plots. I don't know. I don't know. So basically, what happens is there's a family of four: the mom, the dad, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to remember their names, but the mom, the dad, and two kids. Katie is the oldest child, the daughter, and then they have a younger son. The mom is pregnant also at this time. Basically, Katie ends up getting kidnapped and disappears. And the dad has no idea what happens. The family doesn't know what happens. And then 8 years later, somebody finds Katie. There's a couple more things that I'm kind of leaving out. It has to do with the tomb and the mummy and the whole mummy aspect of this movie. And so then they're told by doctors in a different country that all this kid needs, after being the Katie is put in a sarcophagus for 8 years and not fed for 8 years, and one is somehow still living, but two is okay, and all she needs is some home time. That's it. That's all that she needs, right? They bring her back to, I believe it's like New Mexico or something, wherever they live at the time, and this is where all of my problems lie, is this entire plot in New Mexico. So there's a couple of scenes where the mom is trying to basically clean Katie up because she is in a I guess you would call it like a catatonic state where she is like awake and breathing, but she's not able to talk or really emote or anything like that. And so she's trying to clean Katie up, and because she's been in a sarcophagus, she's trying to like wipe her down, wipe her skin off. She's not able to really like give her a bath or anything like that, and she ends up like ripping skin off, and this comes back into play later on. But first off, like these characters, the stuff that is happening to them in this movie, you would immediately go, look, we love our kid. I don't have kids, but I can imagine you love your kid. You want to give them the best care that they possibly need. At a certain point, the care is out of your hands. You need to bring them to a doctor, and they just refuse to do it. The mom and the dad don't communicate. The dad finds a giant puddle of nasty vomit, mucus, disgusting blood on the floor, never mentions it to the mom. The mom rips Katie's skin off, never mentions it to the dad. The dad goes into the bathroom where the skin is and finds it and realizes that this is like bandages with like inscription on it, right? And then he takes it and goes to a college professor. College professor is like, hey, this is some weird, nasty shit how did you find this? And he's like, don't worry about that. Can you tell me what it means? And he's like, not really, but you're talking to some demon shit, basically. And then the dad never tells the mom that he never tells her about the goop on the floor. They just don't communicate. And then, the dad was home one day, or the dad was the one that was home when Katie went missing 8 years ago, right? And uh so they play with it for a second where the mom blames the dad for Katie going missing in the first place. They play with it for a second where they get into an argument. He goes, I know that you blame me for her going missing, but I have to ask you, how did you not know that she had a friend or whatever? Because basically she got kidnapped by her so-called friend or whatever. And the mom goes, you need to get the fuck out. And what does he do? He leaves for like 5 minutes and comes back, and they never play with that ever again. They like, this movie is just, it's characters making bad decisions, and the movie literally forgets that there are other characters about. They live in the house in New Mexico with I believe the Katie's mother's mom. So basically Katie's grandmother, right? They live in this big old house. Hey, really quick, I don't want to interrupt the video for too long, but I just want to say if you like this kind of content and you enjoy the video, please maybe think about throwing me a like or a subscribe. I would appreciate it. I'm trying to make these reviews a little more interactive and a little more fun than me just kind of spewing a bunch of nonsense. So yeah, if you like the video, if you like this kind of content, maybe throw the video a like or maybe subscribe to me, and I would appreciate it. But yep, back to the video. There's a scene where the dad is in the basement or in like his garage kind of thing, and he's looking through this giant tote that they have of like I'm so sorry that this happened to you cards, basically about Katie going missing from years ago. And he's looking through all these things. And I didn't mention this, but I mentioned the mom was pregnant in the 8 years previous. Well, it's been 8 years, so the baby is obviously born and is like a little girl that's like 5 or 6 years old, or however old, like 7 maybe. And so the dad's downstairs doing this, and this is when Katie starts to kind of become possessed and like is able to literally talk. This is the first time that we've heard Katie talk since she's been home. And she's talking to the sister through the door. She's like, "Oh, I finally want to meet you and talk to you." And the little girl goes up to the door, and it's supposed to be a creepy, unsettling moment because, Kate, we haven't heard Katie talk, and we know that it's a demon inside of her basically at this point. And she's talking, she does this weird thing where she licks the sister's toes from under the door like Katie does it, like she's like puts her tongue under the door, and then she like literally picks up the sister and is like levitating her in the air, all while the dad is downstairs, lights are flickering and everything's going crazy. The brother is just, I guess, asleep in his bedroom. The mother is just asleep in her bedroom. The grandmother is just, I assume, asleep in the bedroom. It's like all of this stuff is happening and they just genuinely forget that there are other characters in this house. Like, it's late at night, so where would everybody be? The mom is not working, or at least if she is a nurse or something, but the grandmother has shown to not have a job. She's home the entire time. The dad doesn't think to go upstairs. Nobody is checking on these kids when we literally have seen Katie like genuinely do crazy demonic shit. Like, we're just blatantly being like, no, it's okay. It's okay. Like, again, with this whole puddle of vomit, blood, pile of nasty goop, the dad never says anything, but doesn't think to check on the little girl. Like, at a certain point, this is a danger for not just Katie, but a danger for the rest of your family. And it just doesn't make any sense. Like, this movie is just so goofy in like, yes, it's creepy, it's unsettling, but sometimes it's just creepy and unsettling for the sake of being that. Like, it doesn't actually add anything to the plot. Like, there's a point where Katie's like running around and like on her all fours in like the crawl spaces of the house, and she like there's a scorpion and she like eats it and then like gnaws on it, and then that's just it. And it's like, is the demon hungry? Is it trying to escape? Is it trying to feed? Like, it doesn't try to eat anything else. It's just being creepy, and it's like, dude, what's the point? What's the point? Another thing I want to talk about real quick is there's like coyotes that they like, okay, right, so in real life, dogs can kind of like sense ghosts. Like, animals are really in touch with like weird supernatural shit if you believe in it. If you don't, whatever, it's a bunch of hoopla. But like, sometimes there will be a dog that's just like, and you're like, what are you looking at so adamantly? And it just, you'll talk to it and it won't even, or it'll like look at you and then look back. And you're like, yo, what do you see that I don't see? You know what I mean? Something like that. But anyway, so there's a point where the dad is driving his son and the youngest daughter to school. And they go to leave, and it's a big gated entrance. Oh, real quick. I like the setting being in New Mexico. It feels very desert-y and very, it's very, like, I don't know the word I'm looking for. Like solo abandoned. Like, they don't have neighbors. So like all of them like kind of dealing with all this stuff by themselves. It kind of makes sense because they're so far away from everybody else. It's like deserted kind of, you know what I mean? So I like that. But anyway, there's a gate and it opens and there's coyotes and they're growling towards the house. Like, they're standing in front of the gate looking at the house growling. And so, I'm thinking, oh, okay, the animals can sense the demon that's inside of Katie from outside the house. You know what I mean? And so the dad just drives by. Later on, the dad picks them back up from school and they come back to the gate. And the son literally makes it a point. He goes, "Hey, dad, look, there's no coyotes." Okay. So then, right, this is also intertwined with Katie killing the grandmom. Basically, she is like every time the grandmom gets near her, she always talks like a Christian prayer or something. Like she always has like a cross, and she's always like, "Please protect our Katie" and everything like that. And every time she does this, Katie like headbutts her or attacks her, or does like crazy shit because you can assume it's some like demon that doesn't like the idea of Christianity and is like literally like attacking the grandmom for talking about Christ. And so the Katie is like levitating and doing this crazy shit to the grandmom, and she throws her out the window. The dad is in the car, and the grandmom lands on the car, and it's like a jump scare, like a scare. Oh shit, right? And then they're like can't believe their eyes, and then the coyotes come out of nowhere and just eat the grandma. Just eat the grandma. So then I'm like, okay, is Katie controlling the coyotes? Because first off, they weren't around, and where did they come from? Is my point. They came from nowhere, and then why would they were growling at the house. They were like afraid to go in the house, but now they're just cool and they're just eating the grandma. It's like, what is happening in this movie? And so I'm gonna jump to another this like there's a B plot of this movie that takes place in Egypt. It's a cop plot of the lady that found Katie in the first place, like after she had been missing for 8 years. The lady that found her is trying to figure out what is going on with Katie and all this stuff in Egypt, though. So she's not connected to the plot in America. And this is like the best part of the movie. I'm not even kidding. The cop plot in Egypt is the best part of this whole movie because you're like, okay, you're like, all right, what's going on? Like, she's figuring shit out. She's going to the kidnapper's house. She's figuring shit out. She's going to things that we saw earlier on in the movie that we didn't understand at the time. And it's like really good. It's like genuinely really good, but it keeps cutting back and forth. And it's like, you know what I mean? But I need to mention it because it's actually the best part of the movie. But basically, it turns out that there was an old demon that needed to get concealed or whatever, and the best way to conceal it is to put it in a living host and then put that host in a sarcophagus. But the younger they are, the longer that they last before the seal breaks. And so earlier when I said that Katie's skin ripped off and there was like engravings, it's basically they like wrapped Katie in these like bandages or whatever, like wrapped her up and then put her in here, and it like basically merged as her skin, but those inscriptions on it act as a seal to keep her like keep the demon inside. And as time goes on, that seal is slowly starting to break. And I don't know, man. I thought it was gonna be like cool Egypt, like plague and destruction, and it kind of is, but it's like a demon is doing it. It's not like an old mummy pharaoh guy coming back. I don't know. I didn't hate this movie. Like I said, the acting is good. I like the cop plot and I like the gore. It's there, but it's just kind of like these characters are making goofy ass decisions. There's when the grandmother dies, they decide to have a funeral, right? There are plenty of unnamed adults that we have never seen that we just assume are people that knew the grandmother, right? Remember that pile of gud mess that was on the ground? So basically, it's been sitting there for a while because the dad never says anything about it. He never cleans it up. Nothing at all. He doesn't do anything about it. And so it's slowly, I'm assuming, corroding away at the floor. Okay? And so all of these adults are downstairs basically at a funeral service, like where the grandmother is in, is dead in a coffin. And everybody is mingling, eating food that's nasty as shit because there's like flies and shit in it. Also Katie starts to possess her family. Like the younger brother and her younger sister are all completely getting possessed at this point. Like the youngest daughter is ripping her teeth out and throwing them on the floor. Okay. And so that where that goo was, Katie starts to break through the ceiling, right? And it breaks through the ceiling and crawls through. So because they had a lock on her door that kept her inside the room, she breaks through the floor and is on the ceiling. And I shit you not, there's at least 15 adults, maybe not 15, at least 10, still 10 adults that are in the room, and she is no bullshit right there. Like, and no one looks up and sees her at all. Not one. And then the youngest daughter starts to takes out the grandmom's dentures and puts them in and like does a creepy smile with the grandmom's dentures. And it's just like this movie is trying to be creepy and it's unsettling, but it's not. For what? It feels more like an exorcist possession movie than it does a mummy movie, and it just bummed me out. One thing I just to wrap this up here, basically the cop from Egypt, she flies to New Mexico, or yeah, to New Mexico with a tape because again, the kidnapper was also recording everything so that way we could get an explanation for what's actually happening. And again, I'm able to suspend my disbelief for a lot of things. And you know, okay, fine, we need a way to explain it, and the way to explain it is to have the person who's literally doing it to people, who is the kidnapper, have her explain what the process is so we understand why and whatever, why, when, who, what, how, why, when. And like, so basically the cop gets this tape and brings it to New Mexico to show the parents, hey, this is what's happening and everything. And then this is when all hell breaks loose. Katie basically gets full power, full strength, and she's like bringing like storms and all this crazy like sandstorms and everything. But she resuscitates the grandmother. The grandmom is just back to life. Okay. Or is like revived by ancient demonic magic. And this is the problem I have, okay? The doctor, I'm sorry, the cop, the mom, all go upstairs. Okay? The dad is watching the tape and is like in some weird trance where they're like, come on, we got to go upstairs. And he doesn't respond. So they're like, fine. And they just bolt upstairs, the cop and the mom. The dad is down there and he's like in a trance. And then he like wakes up and turns around and the grandmom's there. And she's like, why don't you take a bite of me or some creepy shit? Like, it's unsettling, but and then literally, I'm not kidding, it's a hard cut to the dad upstairs. So I thought it was going to be like, oh shit, the cop and the mom have to like fight Katie off. And again, the siblings, the brother and the sister are already possessed. So I was like, okay, so the cop is going to have to like fight Katie, and then the mom is going to have to fight the younger brother and the younger sister, and then the dad's going to have to fight the dead grandma. Nope. It hard cuts to the dad getting upstairs, and he's just like, what's going on? And then the cop has to like run downstairs for some reason, and then she gets into a fight with the grandma. Like, this movie, it just left me with so many questions on like, why is this happening? Why did the grandma let the dad just go upstairs if she's being controlled by Katie? Like, I don't know. And then the ending of this movie is basically the dad sacrifices himself so that the cop does, like it recites the chant or whatever, and the demon basically is taken from Katie and put inside the dad, and then the dad goes catatonic, and at the end of the movie they bring the dad to the kidnapper because they caught the kidnapper, and then they basically, it's assumed that they do the ritual to the kidnapper and put the demon inside the kidnapper. Here's my problem. That doesn't solve this movie. That doesn't solve the problem. Yes, it feels good because you want the kidnapper, the person who's doing this to children, to get it done to them, but it literally is stated that the living host, it eventually will die, and then the demon will get out regardless. So you're telling me that like it's just eventually a certain amount of time, and then boom, the demon's gonna be out again. It's like, what are we doing? And then also Katie is alive at the end. How? She was only being kept alive from demonic powers. She didn't eat for 8 years. No sunlight, no food, no human interaction. And you're telling me that she's just okay at the end? No, I don't know. I usually don't want to, I don't want to bash on movies because I don't think this movie's terrible. Again, I will reiterate, acting's good. Gore and disturbingness, good. The setting and the Egypt plot, the cop plot in Egypt, honestly great. But the rest, it's like these characters don't make any sense on what they're doing. The mom and the dad, they barely talk. They talked about maybe we have to put her in a home. And the mom goes, oh, well, I can take care of my own daughter. I don't need. And you literally can't. You literally can't. It's a fucking demon. You cannot take care of her, bro. What are you talking about? Anyway, I want to start a new segment for my reviews, so we're gonna do this with this movie, even though I shouldn't. We're gonna start best character in whatever I'm reviewing. So if I'm doing a season of a TV show, it's best character in the season. If I'm doing a movie, it's best character in the movie. And best character for Lee Cronin's The Mummy goes to the cop. It's the cop. It's gonna be the cop. Everybody else is fucking stupid. Nobody else is likable in this movie. Or not that they're not likable, but I don't know. I don't fucking, it's whatever, man. Let me know what you thought about this movie. Again, you can skip it. If you made it this far and you're like, oh, it doesn't sound great. Yeah, obviously it's my opinion, but whatever. Yeah, let me know what you guys thought. Have a good day.